Hello, and welcome to Speak Honest. I am your host and certified relationship coach, Jennifer Noble. It has been my passion for over a decade to help women like you heal what's been holding you back from having the relationships you deserve. Are you struggling with a relationship where you can't seem to voice your emotions, needs, and boundaries without having it blow up in your face? Then you have found the right podcast, my friend. Get ready for practical tips, empowering truths, and honest conversations. Now, let's dive in. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another coaching episode of Speak Honest. In today's podcast, I had the honor of chatting with Cheryl. Now, Cheryl wanted to get some clarity on what she wants in her relationship. She wasn't quite sure if the expectations that she kept feeling that were coming up for herself, were they from her or were they from society's expectations on her? But as you'll find out during the chat, we ended up finding out where they were really coming from. I can't wait for you all to listen to this coaching call. And if you're listening, I want you to be thinking about, what do you want in your relationships? Is there a conversation you think you should be having with your partner, but you keep putting it off? Think about those questions as you listen to my conversation with Cheryl. Hi, Cheryl. Thank you so much for agreeing to be on the podcast. How can I help?
Well, I have a relationship that I've been in for about a year and a half now, and it's my first relationship post-divorce, and I'm not exactly sure where to go with things. I can't say that I'm unhappy, but I can't say that I'm fully happy in the relationship, and so I guess I'm maybe just looking to get some guidance, maybe just some questions that could help me kind of dig a little deeper into knowing, is this part of my attachment side of things that's speaking, or are these true, valid concerns that I might have? And just maybe to just help me get a little more curious into why I'm thinking of some of the things that I have going on in this relationship.
Yeah, that's a really great question. Why don't you let me know, what are some of those thoughts that are coming up? And feel free to just share them unabashedly.
Yeah, so we only see each other about once a week for, 4 to 6 hours on typically a Saturday. We live about an hour apart, and part of me thinks I want more time together. Like, neither of us have children at home. We do both work full time, but I feel like a relationship after a year and a half, we should have more time together. But then we do both enjoy our time separate and apart. And neither of us have met friends or family of the other person. And I'm like at 18 months. And so part of me is like trying to understand, are these my expectations, like what I want, or is it what society or beliefs of others would like? When I tell people that I haven't met his friends or family, they're like, what, after a year and a half?
Yeah.
And he hasn't met your kids? So I'm trying to distinguish between, well, is there something wrong with that? Or,
well, let me ask you right now in this process, how do you feel about not having, I heard you say you haven't met his family. Have you met his kids?
No, they're not his biological, they're his stepchildren.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay. And has he met your children?
No.
Okay. Let's start there, because they're your children. And so that's your responsibility. And so tell me more about that. Why hasn't he met your children? Is that your choice or his choice?
Well, it's a little bit on my children's side. My children are adults.
Oh, okay.
So my son is in college and he's out of the country right now. So that's a little bit of it on my son's side. My daughter lives here, and I guess I've never asked. I've never said, hey, would you like to go out to dinner with my daughter and her husband before? Yeah, I just have never asked.
Do your kids know that you're dating this man?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How do they feel about it?
My daughter's fine with it. She is happy if I'm happy. My son, on the other hand, is 22, and this is the first, or 21, and the first person I've dated post-divorce, like I said. And
yeah,
he's not exactly thrilled that his mom has a boyfriend, perhaps, but I think he's getting used to the idea.
Okay. So right now in your body, as you're thinking about this, would you like him to meet your daughter, or do you not want him to? Would you like to keep this separate? And either way is totally fine.
I would like to keep it separate. It gives me like a stomach ache to think about them meeting.
That's beautiful. Tell me more about that stomach ache.
Oh, it gives me anxiety. That's really interesting because I feel like I've spoken that out loud before, but no one's ever asked me how it feels in my body and do I want my boyfriend and my daughter to meet.
Yeah.
And so, gosh.
Well, let's check in real quick with your body if you don't mind going there. And remember, anything that we do in this session, you have full control. So I'll take you places, but if you're like, nah, that's not me, we'll go somewhere else. But for right now, sit with your body. If you think about your boyfriend and your daughter meeting, what comes up for you right now? What do you feel in your body?
I feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. And where do you think you feel that uncomfortableness? Is it coming into your chest or into your stomach or shoulder area?
It's definitely in my stomach.
Yeah. So you have an uncomfortable feeling in your stomach when you think about the two of them meeting. And you mentioned you have like an anxiety around that.
Yes.
I would love to explore that with you. Would that be okay?
Sure. Okay.
Do you have any thoughts coming up? And do you understand or know why there's an anxiety there? Or are you not sure?
I guess I'm not really sure.
Mm-hmm. And that's okay. I just want to say that's a really beautiful and honest answer. And I'm so happy that you can just say, I don't know. Because I think that's really indicative of that anxiety. If we're not quite sure where it's coming from, it's just feeling there. If I were to ask you, what are you afraid might happen?
I'm afraid that I have to like make them like each other, or I feel like I've almost compartmentalized like my relationship with him and then my other life almost in a sense. They're different people.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's why I don't want them to come together.
Okay. And how about, you also mentioned that he hasn't met any of your friends. Is that right?
Yes.
Is there a similar feeling there as well?
I think that's probably more the fact that I'm in a new city/state and most of my friends are still back in. I'm not from this area. He's not from this area. So neither of us really, I would say truly, our friends are in the area that we would go to dinner with them. So
okay.
I think it's probably more the family side of things.
Okay. So, and when you say family, do you mainly just mean your children, or do you have any other family members that you would get this same feeling of fear around, or anxiety? I don't want to say fear, anxiety around when you think about him meeting them.
Yeah, really just my kids, because my kids are here. And for him, it would just be like his parents, or his sister was just in town last week, and his niece. And
you didn't meet them?
No.
What was that like for you? Did you want to meet them?
Yeah, I would have liked him to maybe offered me an invitation to meet them out for lunch because they were closer to me.
Yeah.
And that was not offered.
And how did that feel when it wasn't offered?
It makes me think that I'm not an important person in his life.
Yeah. That would be rough to feel that way. Yeah. Is that something that you find is a pattern in other areas with him?
Yeah, I feel like I know him, but I don't know him like on a deeper, intimate level. And I think that's what's been a struggle for me, because I didn't really necessarily have that in my marriage of 18 years. And that was one of the things that I really said was important to me once I started dating someone, was I really wanted to have a deeper connection and intimate relationship with them. And we only see each other for, a few hours once a week. So it's really hard to get to that deeper level in a couple of hours on a Saturday. So I feel like a lot of our relationship is surface level. And I'm trying to think about, is that Cheryl wanting more? That's okay. I can want more, right? Or
Absolutely.
Is it something that society has trained me to want?
I mean, and that's a really good point too, in terms of society trained you, because I will say, hearing your words, you said, I want a deeper emotional connection with my partner. I didn't have it in my 18-year marriage, and it's something that I would like now. So let me ask you, when you say that out loud, does that feel like you, or does that feel like a voice in your head?
No, it's me.
Okay. So I think we might have just at least unlocked one thing there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You would love to have a more intimate connection with your partner.
Yes, that's true.
Okay. And you don't feel like you have that right now.
No, I don't feel that.
Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense too. So I'm hearing it's been 18 months. So let me just make sure I'm getting my facts right here. So it's been 18 months and you guys only see each other a couple of hours on a Saturday. No sleeping over, no intimacy that way. If you don't mind me asking these questions.
Yeah, no, that's totally fine. So sometimes, I mean, he has pets. So if anybody does a sleepover, I will stay at his house. And the interesting part that I've been examining is when we first started dating, I would always drive home and I was waiting for him to invite me to stay over. And he didn't right away. I was very much wanting to stay over, but never asked. And then he started inviting me to stay over. And now I'm like, no, I'd rather go home. So I've been trying to explore a little bit about why that is. So sometimes I will stay over, but more times I just come home.
Okay. So I'm hearing that you want more intimacy and not just like sexual intimacy, but just more overall intimacy. And also, it sounds like you might be pushing it away a little bit. I think you had mentioned before, or before we were chatting, that you sometimes suspect you might be disorganized.
Correct.
You might have a disorganized attachment.
Yes.
Is this something that you would like to explore here today with me?
Yes, based on what I've learned about disorganized or all of the attachment theories, I've really been working hard to become securely attached. And I think for the most part, I am there, but I do find myself definitely going into some avoidant or some anxiously attached trains of thought.
Yeah, because the fun part, as I say, of disorganized attachment is that push-pull dynamic in the relationship, right? It's the come here, go away, go away. And the way you describe staying over sounds identical to that. It's the I'm waiting for him to want me, and as soon as he wants me, I don't want him.
Yes.
So if we can only concentrate here on what we can control, right? What you can control, and what we can do. In what ways do you think you could be showing up for this relationship so you could get your needs met more, so you could get this emotional intimacy?
Well, I think that one of the things that I also said that I was going to do in all of my relationships moving forward, but specifically romantic relationships post-divorce, was work on communication, because that was one thing that was a struggle in my marriage on both ends. And I think that I'm using the excuse that we only have a few hours on a Saturday night. I don't want to get so heavy into conversations that I just need to stop saying that. And I need to have the conversation. I need to open the door to have the conversation, regardless if we have an hour or 8 hours.
Yeah. You know, I can really see in your body language almost the empowerment to you having that realization of being like, I just need to communicate. And this tracks. This makes a lot of sense because especially for disorganized people, for disorganized attachments, when we are not getting our needs met, when we are not actually communicating what we actually need, we tend to kind of come back into ourselves and get into that resentment mode. There might be little tiny things he's doing that might even be annoying the crap out of you right now. And that's only happening because this resentment is starting to build. Did I hit something there?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's just classic. And I've been there. I always like to say I was literally the poster child for disorganized attachment. I hit every single thing I thought he was the problem. Turned out I was the problem. All of that fun stuff. Of course, he had his own issues too. But with this, I love this idea for you. I love this idea of coming towards him, communicating. What do you think has prevented you? Now, you mentioned a little bit, I don't want to have our only time together be heavy. Is there anything else? Talk to me about that heaviness. Where's the fear in that heaviness?
I think the hard conversations, and we have them from time to time, but it's really been a while. So I find myself, in fact, I was just talking with my hairdresser, our hairdressers are like our therapists, right? And I was just telling her today, well, he's got a lot of things on his plate. So I don't want to burden him with all of this, like, where's our relationship heading? When can I meet your family? Like, I don't want to bring that up now. I'll do that once he figures out he's retiring from the military and then work. And so it's just I'm just avoiding the hard conversations because that's just what I've always done.
Yeah. I'd love to dive into this words that you said. I don't want to burden him. I think that's a really wonderful way to kind of put that. And we will often avoid people when we think that we are kind of coming across as either a burden, trouble, bad, any of that kind of stuff. So I wanted to ask you, when you bring that up right now for you and you said, I don't want to be a burden to him, what's coming up for you right now in your body? Are you feeling anything?
Yeah, I feel like little pins and needles, like prickly.
Yeah. Are they on your hands or are they like in your
Like
body?
my whole
Yeah, because the
body.
way you moved your hands there. Yeah. Now I'm going to ask you a question and we can dive into this if you want to or not. It's completely up to you. Is feeling like a burden something that is a feeling you've felt before? Or is this the first time you've ever felt this?
No, I think I've felt it before, or I've really tried to avoid feeling it before.
Right. Yes, because you live your life in a way to where you are not a burden on others, which means that's almost a constant feeling.
Yes.
Where do you think that first memory comes from? If you could track it all the way back, where do you think it comes from?
Oh, it would come from my parents, of course, when I was a child. Like I was a firstborn, and I'm a typical firstborn trait
Yeah.
that I just didn't want to burden them with anything. And that's just been sort of the trajectory of my life. I was a young single mom and just never wanting to burden anybody with my stuff because I can take care of it on my own.
You can do it all on your own.
Yes.
And then what is the typical consequence to you taking it all on your own?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just continuously push people away because I'm telling them that I can do it on my own. And then, that ultimately was some of the demise of my marriage because I was constantly, I can do it on my own. I can do it on my own. To my husband felt that he was no longer needed.
Yeah. So there's almost a hyper independence that's coming from, and I just want to say, I think it makes so much sense that you have it coming up. If as a child, you're the firstborn and you don't want to be a burden on your parents, what are you going to do? You're going to become self-sufficient, aren't you? You're going to become hyper independent. You're going to do everything on your own to make everyone else's lives around you easier. That was a really beautiful strategy back then. Do you think you need that strategy? And it's okay to say yes now. Maybe you're in a place in your life where, yes, this strategy is keeping me safe right now. I need it. Or do you think it could be time to try something new?
That's a great question, Jen. I think in my relationship with him, I think that I've heard him often say how much he values his independence and he doesn't need or want a relationship where you have to see each other every day or you have to talk on the phone every day, or he's just said some of these things about the independence. And then that gets me thinking about, okay, well, I don't want to be that person that does or needs that.
I'd love to stop down there if you don't mind. Yeah. That's great for him to want that. That's absolutely no problem. He can want whatever he wants. And I love that he's open and communicative about that. I think that's wonderful.
Yes.
Is it what you want?
That's what I'm struggling to figure out is this, once a week for a few hours or whatever, even overnight, is that okay right now? And maybe for now it is, but I don't want to get to 3 years down the road and this still be our relationship and maybe not be happy with it. So I'm really just trying to explore and find out, is it just easy and sort of comfortable? Or because I don't want to let go, because I'm afraid to be single again? Or am I okay with the way things are right now?
Well, I'm going to ask you a quick fire question. Are you okay with the way things are right now?
No.
Yeah, I can see it in your face. Yeah. I'm wondering, this question that you have for yourself where you're asking, is what I want just societal expectations? I'm wondering now I'm trying to word this, so forgive me if this doesn't make any sense. I wonder if it's more his expectations you're taking on. Okay, not society's. Yeah.
Bingo. I think you just said it.
Okay.
I think I keep going back to society because I was like, well, because I tell myself I would never do things just to please a man, right? Or,
Yeah.
But if it's society, then that's more acceptable.
And we could get into the societal expectations of what a relationship looks like because, I'll throw something out there that came up for me, for you, but if you go and you have this big, difficult conversation, heavy conversation with him, and he says, no, I only want to see you once a week, What's not to say you can't see him once a week and someone else a different time and then see what you find elsewhere, right? That may or may not work for you, but that's where we start stepping outside of societal expectations. Does that to get you what you want? And then you can date him, you can date someone else, and then maybe he figures his shit out and, he stepped in, but maybe he doesn't. And that's okay too. And it's okay not to want to be alone. It's always okay to say, I'm really okay with this, what I have right now. It's just completely up to you. And that's always the tough part.
Yeah.
I like how you said, I just don't want to wake up in 3 years and have it be. Yeah. What's coming up for you right now?
It's
a safe space. You can let it anything out. We are a safe space here completely.
Yeah. I just feel like, I was married for 18 years and a lot of our marriage was good, but there was so much of it that wasn't, right? And none of us are getting younger. None of us know when our days, might end, right? And I just don't want this to be it, right? Like I want more, but I don't exactly know what that looks like. And I think maybe that's been part of why I haven't brought up the conversation with him, because I don't know exactly what it would look like if we had more time together.
But I love how you said that. I want more. You know that in your heart of hearts. You know that in your intuition. I want more. And I think I'm going to challenge that a little bit, because I think you might know what you want. I think there might just be a fear that he's not going to give it to you.
Yes, for sure. You're totally on, Jen. Yeah.
I'm not dismissing that, because that is scary. You have the potential to go into this conversation and say, this is what I want. This is what I want. Like, I need more here. I need more here. I need more here. And he says, no.
I can't do it. Yeah.
Tell me about that real quick. If we go all the way there, I just like to follow our deepest fears. I'm not telling you to have this conversation. You are going to choose after this what you think is best for yourself. But let's say we go all the way there and we have that heavy conversation and you lay out everything you want. And there's a compromise, right? He's like, well, I can't give you this. And you're like, that's okay. How about this? And he says, I can get right. We're going to compromise into the middle. But then let's say he still says no. Where's the fear there?
I think it's that then I have to make a decision, right? Then I have to be okay with what he's able to give. And then I make the choice, right? Am I okay with that? And do I stay with that? Or do I honor myself and my feelings and choose to walk away, to leave the relationship?
So what if you don't even have to be the one that makes that decision? If you come in and you say, I want to sleep over every Saturday. I want to see you more often during the week, or be having video calls at least 3 times a week. And I would like to work towards a committed relationship where one day we get married. Doesn't have to be tomorrow, but I would like this to happen within the next 3 years. Someone who you've been in a relationship with for 18 months, this is a reasonable conversation to be having. If you said all this to him and then he says no and he walks away, what's that feeling coming up for you?
I think it's just scary. I think for me, this is probably, I was so scared post-divorce to put myself out there, but because I was like, oh, I don't want my heart to get broken again. But like, that's the risk that you take with love, right? Like,
it's so annoying, but it is just true. Yeah. Because if you don't allow your heart to get broken now, what happens in 3 years' time when he's not the right one for you?
Right.
So if you show up for yourself now, you have the potential to find that more that you're looking for.
Right.
Instead of sitting here waiting for what might be.
Well, and your comment, I think just hit it when you said, like, I know that I want to get remarried again someday. And he has told me on our first date that he does not want to get married again.
Okay.
And I have never thought that I was going to change that.
Yeah.
Like, my goal wasn't, I'm going to change his mind, right? But he was freshly out of divorce. And then he even said, well, never say never, but I'm probably not interested in that. And so I think that just comes back to maybe why I've put off the conversation, because I know that's going to come up, or I need it to come up. I need to bring it up. And I have before, and we didn't really agree. I said I wanted marriage, and he said, I don't know why you need marriage. I could be in a committed relationship and make future plans with somebody without being married.
Well, let's explore that real quick. Why do you want to be married?
Yeah, I've been trying to think about that a lot lately. And to me, I have a deep Christian faith, and to me, that's a covenant.
Absolutely.
That's just, I feel that as a Christian woman, that's what God wants for me. And the sanctity of marriage, to be able to say, this is my husband, there's just value in that to me, to my family, to my children, to my friends. Like, it's a deeper commitment, I feel like.
That's a pretty big answer, Cheryl. I think that there's been some things I've asked you and you're like, I don't really know. And that's why I said those I don't knows are beautiful, because it means when you show up with an answer that's that powerful, you know that that's not about society. That's about your values. Your value system states that this is important to you. It doesn't make him wrong that it's not important to him, to be clear. There's someone out there for him that is going to be fine with that. And there's someone out there for you that's going to want to marry you, right? And you guys, I'm sure, have so much love for one another. If you didn't, this wouldn't be so hard. We wouldn't be here. It'd be easy, right? He brings a lot to your life that makes you happy, fills you up, lights you up probably to an extent. But it's important that we don't stay for only those, right? And that we follow our values. How is that, if I say that to you right now, how is that landing?
It almost feels like a relief, right? Because I think that I've been maybe thinking, am I crazy for like wanting to like potentially break this off, right? Like, because like it checks the boxes, right? You could say he checks the boxes, right? Like, and so when you say that, it's like almost like, oh, thank you for giving me permission to want more.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's so beautiful. I'm so happy that I could be here to give you that. And also, I just want to be really clear. I'm pretty sure you just gave yourself permission, since I just repeating back a lot of the same words you've already been saying to yourself. But that's what I'm here for, right? That's what we're all here for, is just to be that reflection, to be that mirror of something you already knew about yourself. If you want a little bit of help we have a little bit of time left here, a little bit of help for how this might go for later. One of the things that I like to tell people when they're going through breakups, and I'm not saying you're going to break up with him per se. Who knows? You're going to have the conversation.
Right.
That's what's important. But just to help you out a little bit, let's say it doesn't go the way you would want it to go, and you have to break up for some reason. You have to take a break, or you're going to, slow it down. I want you to get an idea for the joys that he brings to you. So actually, right now, why don't you let me know, what if I got to meet him, if you introduced him to me, what would I love about him?
He asks a lot of questions. He will ask questions, and he's a really good listener. He's funny. He's sarcastic. He's just a nice person. He's just kind. He will open the door for you. He will remember your name. He's just really a nice, kind person.
I love that. So all of these things that he's bringing into your life that's making you almost afraid to lose, those aspects are important to just think of strategies to get them met outside of this relationship with him. I know you mentioned you live in a new city. So there's also a potential that right now your body is feeling like he is your anchor and your only hope. This asking of questions, that's an emotional connection. The funniness, that's a playfulness. The way that he remembers your name makes you feel important. So it's essential that you find other people in your life that can fill those needs. And also, I just sometimes I like to write them down. So when I'm looking for my next partner, then I know what I'm looking for. Not to compare against him, but these are the things that he brought into your life that you loved about it, that lit you up, that made you happy. As you're talking about him, you're smiling. And it's okay to remember those good times, even if it doesn't work out. Because those good times show you what you want in the future. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Right. And as we are wrapping up here today, is there any other questions that you have about what we've been chatting about, or any aha moments that you really are taking away from this?
Well, I believe the whole conversation we've had today, Jen, has just been very enlightening. I think that your questions, just to kind of get me to dig a little deeper, is really what I was looking for. And just, I guess, going back to my values and what's important to me. And I guess the big aha moment was the fact that I kept saying society, but really it was him.
Yeah.
That's probably my biggest takeaway. I was like, oh, I didn't even see it that way.
I loved how, as I was saying that to you, you were like, yeah, no, I got it. I was like, because I couldn't grasp what I was trying to say there, but it was coming up for me. And so I was like, you were like, yeah, no, yeah. I think that's all really important for you, just to know what to do moving forward. And again, whatever you choose and decide is going to be what's right for you in that moment. If you do that now, if you do that in 6 months, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's about what you need and what you want. And that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, thank you so much for coming on here with me and for your vulnerability and for opening up.
Thank you.
And thank you so much. And just have a lovely week. Thank you. Wow, right? Don't you love how Cheryl started realizing that the expectations she had weren't coming from society at all, and instead they were coming from the need to stay attached to her partner? The things that she wants, they're a part of her value system. And it's really important that we remember to always check in with our values when it comes to relationships. If she wants to get married and he doesn't, then that right there is an incompatibility and it needs to be addressed. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. We do not date potential. Now, I'm not saying that Cheryl is sitting around waiting for her partner to change his mind or thinking she can make him change his mind. But it's more of a subconscious thing happening. See, all of those ways that she was changing herself to be with him, there's likely a subconscious expectation that if he really loved me, and I say that in quotation marks, even though I know you can't see me, but she's thinking, oh, if he just really loved her, then he would change too. But that's not healthy, is it? And again, I don't think she's consciously thinking this at all. I think that because she has a disorganized attachment, her subconscious mind will be feeling these deep-seated beliefs. See, these are the limited beliefs that I talk about in my 12-week course. The beliefs that can sometimes be so deep inside of us that they don't even feel like beliefs. They feel like reality. But by having this conversation, Cheryl was able to bring the subconscious up to the conscious level and start to see that she wanted more. And I am so happy for her that she sees that she wants more because she absolutely deserves more. You all do. If logically you know you deserve more, but you're struggling to see that in your relationships or how you attach to others, I would love to have you join our free Facebook group for women just like you. I will also be launching my 12-week program in the next few months. So the best way to find out about how to join it is to join our Facebook group and dive right in. You can also ask me any relationship-related questions in there. And it's actually pretty quiet right now, so now would be a great opportunity to ask me anything you want because you would get all of my attention. If Cheryl's conversation today helped heal any part of you and you want to do that for someone else, I would love to have you as a guest on our podcast. Send me an email or reach out to me in the Facebook group and let me know you're interested. Until next time, take care. As we wrap up today's conversation, always remember that healing is a journey, not a destination. And it is an honor to be a part of your healing journey. If you want to dig deeper into the topics we covered today, be sure to head over to our show notes where you can find all of the valuable information mentioned in today's episode right there. And please remember to rate, review, and subscribe if you enjoyed today's podcast. Your feedback means the world to us and helps others discover our podcast. Until next time, remember to speak up and speak honest.